Ontario's top politicians are back in the office, Queen's Park that is, while Donald Trump's tariffs will continue to hang over the country. It makes this session one of the most important ones in many decades. Joining us now is Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner here in studio with us. Thank you so much for being with us, especially on a day like today. Let's start with tariffs, what we talked about. When you're looking at what's happening between Canada and the U.S. and these levies, how important is that when it comes to provincial politics?
Oh, it's incredibly important, especially when you look at how it's affecting our manufacturing sector and the fact that we already have auto workers being laid off, businesses' investment being frozen because of all the unpredictability. That's exactly why I've been saying Ontario Greens are ready to work across party lines to protect Ontario workers, Ontario businesses, Ontario jobs, and that's exactly what we need to do right now. We need to show strength through unity. I'm pleased that the Premier has said one of the first pieces of legislation will be to remove interprovincial trade barriers, because one of the responses to Trump's tariffs is we need to diversify our trade partners outside of Canada and within Canada.
And Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie has called for a leadership committee to deal with Donald Trump's ongoing threats. Where do you stand with that?
Yeah, I think the more we can work together, the better. I know during the height of the COVID emergency, all four of us regularly met, all four party leaders. I think this tariff threat is a serious threat. We need to all be working together. And I know that Donald Trump responds to strength. And that's exactly why we need to show unanimous support and unanimous work on a number of issues to push back against Trump's tariff threat.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about at Queen's Park and the historic day happening there. The province elected its first female speaker of the House. How significant of a moment was this today, and also for the future?
Yeah, I think it was a very historic moment, and congratulations to Donna Skelly, who will be the first woman to serve as Speaker of the Ontario Legislature. I know as somebody, I have two daughters, and one of the most memorable moments they had at Queen's Park was Take Your Daughter to Work Day a few years ago, and they got to meet Kathleen Wynne.
Wow.
And have their photo with the first woman Premier. And now, in my time at Queen's Park, now we have the first woman Speaker. I think it says a lot about the progress that we've made as a province. Representation matters, and I know there's going to be a lot of women out there today, especially young women like my daughters, who can see themselves in that speaker's chair someday in the future.
Yeah, it's nice when all party leaders and all parties in general can agree on something like this being celebratory. I want to shift focus now and speak about something, a priority for you and your party, and that is housing. So talk to us about your call to have 2 million homes built while leaving the greenbelt and farmland alone.
Well, we absolutely have to address the housing affordability crisis. When I talk to voters during the election, post-election, they've told me that their number one issue is the housing affordability crisis. We know Trump's tariff threat even makes that crisis even worse, because construction costs are likely going to go up to these tariffs. That's exactly why we need a government to follow the solutions the Ontario Greens have been putting forward. Let's remove the barriers to building multiplexes, missing mental and gentle density housing. Let's remove development charges to save first-time home buyers and put together an affordable communities fund to help municipalities cover the infrastructure to unlock housing. We need to protect renters. And finally, we need the government to get back into building deeply affordable nonprofit and co-op housing. 93% of the deeply affordable homes built in the province of Ontario were built before 1995. That's when the province stepped away from the table. We need the province to come back to the table, invest in housing, and it's a great way to stimulate job creation if we do go into a recession caused by Trump's tariffs.
You know, housing is also a big focus of this upcoming federal election. We've seen some party platforms there. I want to get your reaction to what we've heard so far on the campaign trail and what you think the messaging should be from the provincial government.
Well, I think the province needs to step up and say, you know what, we're going to work with all levels of government, federal government, municipal government, to address this crisis. The one thing that worries me a bit is I've heard some of the federal party leaders say, you know what, we're going to use sticks to force municipalities to do things and possibly take housing funding away from them. That is absolutely the wrong way to go. We need an all hands on deck. We need to be providing the funding support municipalities need to unlock housing infrastructure, and we need the provincial government to stop saying no to legalizing multiplexes in mid-rise developments. Stop saying no to protecting renters, and stop saying no to building deeply affordable nonprofit and co-op housing, because we're in a crisis. The people of Ontario want us to act, and it's a great way to stimulate the economy as we deal with Trump's tariff threat.
I'm sure there's going to be much more talk in the next few weeks on this. Okay, Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner, thanks so much for coming in.
Hey, my pleasure.